Anytime during this process, if you happen to notice any jagged roots, you want to go ahead and you cut them off with a clean knife. The clean cut on a root system, the tree's roots will develop into the surrounding area much quicker than a jagged cut. You should start securing the burlap around the soil. Use the nails to connect the pieces of burlap together to get the strength of the ball. Don't hook the nails into the soil. It's kind of like putting a diaper on a baby. You don't hook the pins into the kid, do you? Which, reminds me, I'm kind of wondering how our friend's doing over there back with his tree that he's trying to remove. Oh, well, I don't think so, man. I think it'd probably be in the best interest of that tree if we were a little more careful. Gently remove that tree out of the hole, and then you can further secure that ball by tying some twine around the tree. And then that's when we could also come back in and use one of those wire baskets. Man, I don't know. This guy's really beginning to concern me. God, now that he has his tree out of the hole, man, I wonder what's next. Not too tender. Looks like he's more like in a rodeo or something, I think. Now what's he going to do to that poor thing? Oh, that's a heck of a way to treat a nice tree that you're going to be planting in your yard. Which brings up something else. Loading and transportation is something that's very critical to be talking about. That's not the right way to do it. What we're going to do here now is show you the best way to load a tree. What we're doing in loading a tree is we want to make sure that this root ball integrity stays in place. We've done a great job of digging this ball, putting some burlap around it, and having it real tight around the root system. So that's what we don't want to disrupt that, because then you'll create air pockets in the root ball, and those air pockets are going to be around the roots of the tree and can actually cause those roots to die. A tree this size, I'm not even going to attempt to load it by myself. I'm going to need some help here. What we'll do is you always want to load the root ball up by picking up the ball. You never want to grab hold of the trunk, because when you grab hold of the trunk and shake it back and forth, you'll loosen the tree in this root ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this by the wire and then by the bottom here, and then just lift it gently up into the trunk and gently set it down. Another way we could have done this is put a piece of burlap under the root system of the tree and lift it up to the truck that way. You want to gently slide the root ball all the way up as far as you can. And then you want to lay the tree towards the back. This way the wind won't really cause any problems on the tree just because of the way the branches are. If you're not lucky enough to have a covered vehicle, you want to cover the tree with some sort of a tarp, and this will further protect the tree from the whipping of the wind as you're driving down the road. But you want to make sure that if you ever stop for any length of time, you want to park in the shade, because the heat that can be generated underneath that tarp will further damage the trees. Okay, the tree's secure, the tarp's secure. Now that's the way to get a tree ready for transport. Okay, now what we're going to talk about is a little bit about how to store these trees. We've already got them from the nursery to where we're wanting to plant them, but we're not quite ready to plant these trees. If that's your case, then there's a couple things that you need to think about. The first thing to do is to choose a site that is somewhat protected from the elements. This site is protected from some buildings over on the north side from us, so it won't get any of the cold winter winds that we have. Secondly, what we're going to be doing is we chose a site that had a lot of mulch. What you want to do is protect those roots from the extreme temperatures. You can use mulch, you can use other soil, you could use straw, anything at all to pack in around those root balls. You're trying to protect them and not dry those root balls out. You can go ahead and cram them real close. You don't have to separate them. Put them all in a central area. We only have 3 trees here, but if you have 10 or 15 trees, go ahead and put those trees together, and then you won't have to use as much mulch. I'm going to go ahead and start putting this in around here, and I'm going to show you exactly just how much mulch you need to have around these roots. That ought to be about enough. As you can see, what we've done here is we've just brought enough mulch to totally cover all the root system of the tree. And this is going to act like a blanket to help protect those roots, like I was saying, from drying out. Common question is how long can we keep these trees like that? The earlier in the season that you harvest your trees and move them, the longer you can keep them. Say, for instance, you move your trees to a place that you're wanting to plant sometime in December or January, you could probably keep them there for over a month. But the later in the season that you transplant, of course, then the trees will be coming out of dormancy, and you want to make sure that you plant them before that time. During the whole time that these trees are being healed in here or kept here for temporary storage, we still need to go ahead and water those. And you need to water them just like they've been in the ground. As soon as you put them here, you want to go ahead and water them and soak them real good. And depending on the weather, you probably even want to come back at least once a week and check them. You never want the root balls to dry out. So what you would want to do is to come back, dig back to the root system, and actually feel the soil that's around the tree. And if it's beginning to dry out, you want to make sure you go ahead and water it. If it's still moist and real damp to the touch, well, you could probably hold off a little bit. We chose this site because it was close to our planting area, and it's going to be easy to move the trees actually to the planting site, and it's protected. You may think that putting a tree in your garage will further keep that tree protected, but it's really not the case. What will happen is inside that protected area, it's going to be much warmer. The tree knows it's winter time. It's not going to be confused keeping it outside anymore as long as it's in this nice area. But moving it into a garage or inside, the temperature change may cause that tree to come out prematurely, and that's what we don't want to happen. I think this video has given you just about all the information necessary to harvest a tree and how to move that tree out into the area where you're wanting to plant it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something from the video as well. The tree also has a couple of other videos available, one on tree planting and another one on tree pruning. And here we have a list of area resource information if you're interested in contacting them and learning more about how you can improve the trees in your area.